hey, it is what it is. I'm gonna keep pushing. So Karmelo Anthony, young man, just hold on tight, because the appeal has already been submitted. Okay, the appeal has already been submitted. Investors, like I told you, I don't know when you find me, but I told you that I was going to use my channel for Shador Sanders and for anybody in the community that needed my help. And as you can see, I'm standing on my word, and I'm not. Oh gosh. And I feel really it's an honor for a time like this to already be established, monetized, and have a voice on YouTube where I can speak. Also, for anyone that come across this video, give my opinion on this commentary, because good gracious, some of the things that have been said on social media has been a disgrace. If Deshaun Watson is 1 for business purposes, Shador Sanders is 2 for talent, hey, I think we're still going to have a good winning record. And y'all, it's still going to go down in history, Cleveland Brown history, with the winning record that we're going to get this year if sports betting does not come and play a major part into this. But we're gonna continue to cover that. What's up, Justine? Where you been? They're asking for a Secret Service to get involved. Everybody is crying for Donald Trump to get involved. Listen, this is going to be one of the easiest cases to be overthrown and appealed. What you say, Mel? I was wondering about that. Usually you have a sentencing hearing, right? I thought that was strange and unorthodox. AI said it doesn't have it. AI couldn't give me one case where somebody was found guilty and sentenced in the same day. Hey, go out. If you're using AI, I use. All right, Vestas. Hey, we are back here on Hump Day, and you know we're going to contend what we can win. The first segment, I'm going to cover the latest everything to cover that injustice in the NFL that we have been tracking for a while. And then you know that we are going to start. I'm going to go ahead and update you regarding some of the Texas laws and the Karmelo Anthony updates. Y'all, let's see here. Hold on. Let me bring this young man to the stage, because like I said, hey, we got 5 weeks of vacation. There's nothing going on in the NFL, so I'm going to use my time and my voice to speak out against the injustice of this young man. And even after we get new NFL update, I'm going to use this channel, my time, my energy, and my vestas to continue to push this case forward until the appeal has happened, or until the charges are thrown out the court, or even if there's a retrial. We're going to keep pushing. I'm going to keep pushing. So to the Vestas, thank you so much for pivoting with me, and we're going to keep pushing. Let me go ahead and start this right here. I have so much information. Last night I did a wonderful live last night. So if you was in that members only live, there was so much information that we covered last night, especially regarding the first segment, and that's regarding Brandon Sorsby. And you already know what the thumbnail says. Based off the research that I did last night, before I get into the Karmelo Anthony segment of this live, Brandon Sorsby will play. That's if the NFL drafts him. And based off the research that we conducted in members only last night, Brandon Sorsby will get drafted this year. I know it's astonishing. Hey, we've seen worse things, but I'm going to bring this up because if they let him play, the injustice that they did to Shador Sanders, last year, more lawsuits hopefully will be coming out. Because as you know, they said the reason that Shador Sanders the reason why he slid in the draft is because of his character issues. And we already know on front page, Brandon Sorsby character issues is already there. But we did homework last night. We did our research. And guess what? The NFL is definitely going to use this one. I'm going to call it technicality. Okay? Let me go ahead and put up these slides right here. Listen here. So make sure you go and get your notes, your drink, and your Vez. I'm trying to tell you. Listen. I got so much information regarding the Texas law and what it says. This case here regarding Karmelo Anthony is really a humanitarian case. But we're going to discuss that. Okay, let's go here right here. So here we go. Well, I wasn't on live last night, but I'm definitely on live tonight. And I'm pretty sure you know by now, Brandon Sorsby, after that Big 12 filed their lawsuit against the Texas Tech. Basically, Brandon Sorsby said, I'm going to step down, I'm going to remove myself from the equation, and I'm going to declare for the NFL Supplemental Draft. I said, well, that was very interesting because guess what? The window to submit your application, you have to do that before the 22nd of June. Brandon Sorsby, guess what? He did that at the beginning of this week, so he's within that window. Let's keep going here. Let me keep going here. Also, if you don't know who that is at the bottom of the screen, that is Nussmeier. Well, Tony Talks visited up. Why do you have Nussmeier on the scene? This is the reason why I have Nussmeier on the scene. Nussmeier, it just came out today that Nussmeier is no longer eligible for 2026 season. He's ineligible. So guess what I think is going to happen either today, tomorrow, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday if they're accepting applications on the weekend. Nussmeier also may apply for I'm pretty sure he is because he was at the combine. He's going to apply for the NFL Supplemental Draft. Now, why I keep bringing this up here? And why did I say he's going to play? Let's see here. What you said? No. We're not going to play that right here tonight. So we already know what Coach Prime's point of view on that gambling act, right? Get my throat together. And we already know what Andrew Barry said. It was to serve gambling law. What he said Barry tonight. And I just want to go ahead and put this out here. So some of the investors last night, we talked about the NFL and why they may, how can I say, draft Sorsby is because they don't have an issue with gambling. Hint, hint. Because the reason being, guess how much they get out of gambling? I think they get out of gambling, sports betting, they get a major amount of revenue from gambling partnership. Of course, they don't tell us that much, but I'm pretty sure it's in the hundreds of billions of dollars for gambling. So, hey, we came up last night with the conclusion that they don't have an issue with him gambling because they're getting money from gambling. So my thing is, if they go ahead and draft him, because I got the dates. So there would be private workouts if somebody selects him between the 5th and the 12th of July, right? And then the actual draft itself will happen at the end of July. And y'all, we did this last night. Did I update the slides? Okay, that's going into the Karmelo stuff. I must have took it out. Let me go ahead and bring this up here. We did a comparison. Well, someone did a comparison between Shedeur Sanders and Brandon Sorsby. I saw your message 420. I'm going to ignore that right now. So let me go ahead right here and tell you this right here before we get into the Karmelo Anthony piece of this live. Do you see this punch right here? Shedeur Sanders. I can't bring it up. But you know, Shedeur Sanders ended his final collegiate year with a 74% passing completion rate. Sorsby ended his final collegiate year with a 61.6% passing rate. Now, why did I bring that up? We know he doesn't beat out Shedeur Sanders. In terms of accuracy and completion rate. But guess what, y'all? And we did verify that number there, 61.6 last night. But guess who he also doesn't beat out? Believe it or not, he does not even beat out Dillon Gabriel. Brandon Sorsby completion rate, his final year in college, is lower than Dillon Gabriel. Dillon Gabriel completion rate was 65.3 or 65.9 for his final year at Oregon. And y'all, guess what? There was a investor by the name of Justine. She wanted me to look up Ty Simpson completion rate. Brandon Sorsby does not even beat out Ty Simpson completion rates for last year. Nowhere near. Ty Simpson completion rate is 63.9, I think. So this Brandon Sorsby gets drafted this year, and we talked about this last night. I already told investors that I was going to talk about this members only. That means a team has already contacted him and say, go ahead and supply your application and you will definitely get drafted, okay? So we kind of figure out that's what's going to happen. He already said he's declared, so I'm pretty sure with him declaring and he's stepping down from Texas Tech so confidentially, somebody has already called him. Now, you already know why we are here, because of how the NFL did Shedeur Sanders, and they lied on him as being a black quarterback. Shedeur Sanders is one of the most accurate quarterbacks in collegiate history, but the reason we was told that the reason why he dropped is because of his off the field character issues. Now, what can the NFL, I don't care if they do let him play, Sorsby that is, and draft him, y'all, what would they say in terms of Sorsby and his off the field character issues? Now, a lot of this, and we pulled up some highlights last night, some headlines last night, and based off all of the headlines we saw last night, they're writing this up like they already know that Sorsby is going to get drafted by the end of next month. So once again, if Sorsby get drafted with a known gambling issue, what will Shedeur Sanders do? What will Shedeur Sanders do against the NFL? Probably at this time, we'll talk about that behind the scenes. But that young man, even I wonder what Deion would say, because we already know what Deion Sanders, Coach Prime, has said regarding the injunction that was approved from Sorsby to come back this year for Texas Tech. I definitely want to know what Coach Prime is going to say, right? And everybody else that was so hard on Shedeur Sanders when he slid in the draft, talking about his character issues. Everybody, they put that mouth on Shedeur Sanders. I definitely want to go back and I will be watching closely, like I'm watching the Karmelo Anthony case. What will you say now if the NFL draft Sorsby with his known character issues? I don't care if the NFL is going to say that is a technicality, because, well, Tony Talks vested up compelling sports edge. What technicality are you talking about? Well, based off the research last night, they're going to use this technicality. They're going to say, well, that happened in college. He wasn't an NFL player then. So basically, he didn't break no NFL rules, and he didn't break no NFLPA rules. Collective bargaining agreements. He never signed an NFL contract. So really, that's just something that he did in college. Well, I know you've been hearing this name of this black quarterback named Terrell Pryor being brought up. Well, you know, we talked about Terrell Pryor because this is how I felt like the NFL was going to railroad Taylor Green. You know, everybody was saying, well, even John Gruden was saying, well, Taylor Green, you have the ability, you have the height, you have the speed, you have the agility to be a wide receiver. Taylor Green said, no, I'm a quarterback. I said, okay. But I knew that the reason why they didn't highlight Taylor Green, they was going to railroad him. And he slid to the first round. Taylor Green should have easily been the first quarterback off the books. Once again, the NFL has an issue with black quarterbacks. Taylor Green, they was gonna, if the Browns didn't come in, and I'm gonna give all credit to Andrew Berry, if Taylor Green would have slid all the way down to the 7th round, or probably went undrafted, the first team that came knocking on his door would be like, hey, we don't have room for you as a quarterback, but guess what? We want to utilize you as a wide receiver. That's the same thing they did with Terrell Pryor. Now, why I'm bringing up Terrell Pryor with this Brandon Sorsby? So we did our research last night. As you know, Terrell Pryor, and this is probably why, thinking about it, this is why they probably tried to get him convert from a quarterback to a wide receiver. Well, he got in trouble because I think his last year, or the year that he was to declare for the draft, he signed some memorabilia, and I guess at that time, quote unquote, that was illegal against NCAA rules, right? So they basically said, you can't go to the draft. So what he did was he circumvented the regular NFL draft, and he participated in the NFL Supplemental Draft. And guess what? They picked him up. They picked him up for a third round pick. So for the teams, this is what I told investors last night. Whatever teams tell Sorsby to come there to do a private workout, I will be looking for them. And I bet not see the Cleveland Browns is interested for Sorsby. Now, we already heard Todd Monken's perspective on sports gambling and sports betting, and he said basically there's no room in the sport for that. And Andrew Berry, he did give a disclaimer saying that he probably gave the human aspect of it, and he didn't know all the details. But Andrew Berry, by now, you should know those details, brother. You definitely should know those details. So in 2 more weeks, I don't want to hear the Cleveland Browns is entertaining this foolishness. Let them go to another team. Now, once again, going back to Terrell Pryor. And this is what they think the NFL is going to do regarding Brandon Sorsby. And I'm saying this before I get into the Karmelo Anthony information, because that part is going to be for informational only. If they don't want us to focus on race, I got other contributing factors that the court must consider. It is the law. So hold on. Let me go and finish this regarding Terrell Pryor, the black quarterback that got railroaded also by the NFL. Well, and I played the clip for the investors, the members only last night. Nightcap had did a segment on Sorsby, it was very intense over there, along with Debo and Joe. But they brought up Terrell Pryor. His punishment from the NCAA was 5 games. 5 games. So it was even an article that I read that since the NCAA, no, it wasn't them. I think whoever gave him that punishment, that injunction, approved that injunction, the punishment was for 2 games for him to sit down. So let's see what the NFL does. Now, there was another investor said that he'll probably sit down for 3 years. I can't see that, because if you're going to pick him up in the NFL draft and he can't play for 3 years, what's the purpose of him being on the team? And if they draft him, trust me, they're going to have the same mentality as me. Why draft him and he has to sit on the bench? No. It's either going to be 5 games, because they believe that the Terrell Pryor has set the precedence on what Brandon Sorsby will expect. Go out there and do your research after this live. They got Terrell Pryor and Brandon Sorsby in the same headlines, and I think that's going to be the baseline for the punishment. But did y'all also know that when these teams pick up players in the NFL Supplemental Draft, they have to give up a first round. They have to give up, first round, second round, third round. They have to give up a pick, right, for the next draft. Now, get this. I want to tell you this, and I want you to listen closely to what I'm about to say. I think Sorsby will definitely get drafted and play. Do you know the last time that a player got picked up in the NFL Supplemental Draft? 2019. And that was Jalen Thompson. If my notes is right, because there's a lot of names running through my head. But that's the last time that a player got picked up, was 2019. The date, the year, I'm sure of. And then the last time that the NFL held an NFL Supplemental Draft was 2023. Now, guess what? You already know I went to AI last night. I was like, hey, I started asking questions regarding the NFL Supplemental Draft, and it said, AI said, based off the conversations that's happening now, the NFL, because remember I said that they haven't held one since 2023. This year here, if they hold one, Sorsby will get drafted. Now, Tony talks vested up. Well, what about quarterbacks? When was the last quarterback drafted in the NFL Supplemental Draft? Decades ago. Was it 1985? Bernie Kosar. It's been decades since a quarterback has been drafted in the NFL Supplemental Draft. So, you already know how we do it over here on this channel. Once again, if you're going to make all these exceptions and change all of these things, all of these rules, your rules for a white quarterback that has a known gambling issue or character issues, once again, why did you let Shedeur Sanders slide in the 2025 draft? Yeah. I wonder what the NFL is going to say regarding that, because it must come up. And you know what they're going to do when they draft him? Because the last 5 players that I pulled up, right? And all of them wasn't quarterbacks. The last 5 players that I pulled up, out of the 5 last players that was drafted in the supplemental draft, 4 teams gave a first-round draft. For Terrell Pryor, it was a 3rd-round draft. So what if they pick up Brandon Sorsby for a 1st-round draft, a 2nd-round draft, a 3rd-round draft, or even a 4th-round draft? That means he would have a higher draft pick than Shedeur Sanders. See, that's why we're gonna never stop. We're never going to stop digging in their trash cans. We're never going to stop watching all of these things. You probably know by now they think that we're not even watching this case regarding Brandon Sorsby. But this is big news here. And I'm going to leave you on this. The same time that Cleveland Browns is going to decide which one of their quarterbacks, Deshaun Watson or Shedeur Sanders, is going to be QB1, we'll know at that exact time if they're going to hold an NFL supplemental draft. And based off the research I did last night, 99.99999% they're going to hold an NFL supplemental draft, and Sorsby is going to get drafted. And now that Sussmeyer is ineligible for 2026 season, it's going to be 2 quarterbacks that's probably going to get picked up in this NFL supplemental draft. And based off the conversation last night, we're going to see what the Falcons is going to do, and we're also going to see what the Steelers is going to do. And you already know this is up Kevin Stefanski's lane. Because if he chose Tua Tagovailoa over Dylan Gabriel, if he chose Travis Simeon over Dylan Gabriel, you know he'll choose Sorsby over Dylan Gabriel. Y'all, I'm gonna go to the comments, and then I'm gonna go to the second half of this live. What's up, SDP1208? What's up, Justine? Come on with it. What's up, 420? Oh, 420. Welcome back. Good evening, Slim 081. What you say to Cleveland Browns? The Cleveland media wants Sorsby. Why not Arch? I know why, because Grandpa said he may not come out. Oh, is that official now? Okay. Hello, Tony Investors. Hey, what's up, Lady E? Listen, let me know if that is official, okay? Hey, 420, I know you've been watching this. Hey, what's up, CJ? What's going on, CJ? From my understanding, Shedeur Sanders will be traded. What? Traded to who and why and where? You got to tell me a little bit more of that, Lady E, before I get into the next segment. traded. Exactly. And wow. What's up, Terry Jackson? Sister, they always take care of their own. And let's see if that's what I'm saying. I didn't know in the supplemental draft that they have to give up slots and picks for the next round. I said, oh, let's see. Now, mind you, it's been 6 years since a player got picked, even though they held one in 2023 and nobody got selected. So it's been 6 years. Let's see. Because if they hold one, they definitely ain't gonna be a fifth rounder. That'll be on Shedeur Sanders' level. They got to put him above Shedeur Sanders' level. And in the last 5 players that have been picked, all of them has been first round, and fifth and third round. So I don't think he's going to be lower than a third round because Terrell Pryor was black. And how dare they go below a third round? This is how straight out racist that the NFL is showing its shirt to be. And like I said, if it wasn't for Shedeur Sanders, I wouldn't be here. But I guess since I am here, I might as well focus on the NFL, focus on the NCAA, and focus on this Karmelo Anthony case at this time, and anybody else that may need a voice in the future. That's what I'm here for. Let's see here. Since they always take care of their own, let's see if he drops to the fifth round. But sister, you know they got something against our black quarterbacks. I know. Oh, long time no see. What's up, Al Roberts? What's going on in Las Vegas? Hey, Miss T in chat. Yes. What's up, 420? 100% facts. What's up, Blessed and highly favored? Is in the room tonight. Come on with it. If the owners is betting on their own teams, then Sorsby is his man. I wasn't going to bring that up, but I see you brought that up from last night. So, yes, that is a valid point. Because if any NFL team, matter of fact, if the NFL hasn't spoke out against this, you know he's about to be picked. I don't recall seeing any headlines from the NFL that they are against Sorsby, because they're definitely pro-gambling because they have gambling partnerships. Let me go in. This is where their money come from. The NFL shared national revenue last year alone was $13.8 billion. Where does the money come from? This is the same one. Let me go to drop you down. It comes from TV and streaming rights, sponsorships, ticket sales. I was right, black sales, luxury suites, merchandise and licensing, gambling, partnership, and international games and media deals. Y'all, we're going to follow this. We're definitely going to follow this case right here because, hey, Sorsby is going to be the smoking gun for all of the, how can I say it, the post-Shedeur NFL draft slide. He's going to be the smoking gun. I may even file my own lawsuit against the NFL because I got PTSD and all the lies that they put on that young man, who I'm going to say is very similar to Karmelo Anthony. Clean background, come from a wonderful home, got good parenthood, good grades, done nothing wrong in public, but get crucified. We gonna talk about this. Okay, so that is the last comment regarding that. So you already know what we're here for. You already know who we're here for. Y'all, things are going to continue. Let me rephrase that. As the days continue, investors, I don't want to see it now. If a troll come in the room, as long as they're respectful, being a respectful troll and no profanity, and they're not disrespecting Karmelo Anthony or the Anthony family, let them breathe tonight. But until they start acting like they don't have any home training, make them go to the wind. Ghosts. All right, investors. Thank you, moderators, for the job that you're going to do tonight. Now, the things that is coming out regarding this case, y'all, believe it or not, the more that we keep Karmelo Anthony's name out here in the universe and the algorithm, believe it or not, more and more people are changing their thoughts and their preconceived notions about this case. The work that we did for Shador Sanders, even if these other podcasters don't report on Shador Sanders, we are doing the work. There is so much momentum in the atmosphere that this thing is going global about the push and how this young man was did wrong in a legal court. Let me slow my words. Last year, we had a fight for Shador Sanders. This year, we also going to fight for Karmelo Anthony in that case. I have clips. I got clips from this community speaking out, and I got clips from their community speaking out. Everybody is saying, hold one. Improper change of venue. The jury selection. And y'all, it was not an all quote unquote white jury. I think they said they had 8 white males on there, 3 Asians, and 1 I forgot where it came from, Afghanistan in. So they said that the jury was mixed in terms of nationalities. So what we're gonna do is we're just gonna take race off the table for the juries tonight and just look at all the facts, even the facts coming out that is stating that all of the witness for the prosecution changed their statements on the stands. Every last one of them. They say it's not matching the police records and statements that they actually took at the scene of the incident. Other people that has come out and saw the tape, they standing strong, black and white, that Karmelo Anthony got jumped in those bleachers. Everybody now is saying, well, just show the tape. Just show the tape so all of this back and forth can just stop. They're not showing the tape, y'all. Why do you think they're not showing the tape? It's going to acquit Karmelo Anthony, and it's going to give justification on him self-defending himself in that stance. If you don't believe me, hold on. Let's go ahead and get into the thick of things. And I did do my homework. The reason why they're on here, in the last live, someone had stated that Dallas has 30 black female judges. Me personally, I don't think that it will get moved to Dallas. Hopefully it will. And see, I think a lot of people is going to have an issue with this, because if they move it from Collins County to Dallas, right? And I found out McKinney is definitely in Collins. And McKinney, Allen, Fresno, who else? Hold on, I think I got this slide in here. I want to pull this slide up right here. These counties that I'm calling out, I don't know why they could continue to consider this a sundown town, because I was there and nothing happened to me, y'all. I was there in March. I was in Fresno and I didn't know where I was, but nothing. 10% to 12% of black folks live in Collins County, and I worked in McKinney for that week, and I had, how can I say it, not co-workers, but black professionals that worked in that building that lived in Fresno. So Fresno is not this little old rinky-dink town that didn't know nothing about justice, didn't know how to conduct the court proceedings. No. This is a very well off side of Dallas. I was there. I'm not telling you what I heard or I learned. I was there. I was there in March. I didn't even know that this is where the incident had happened in Collins County, because hey, yes, I could tell that it was definitely money there. I could tell, they may have, if you go down the side street and turn here and turn there, you may see, okay, this looks different, right? I was just looking for a hair store, but I didn't see no issues. So I'm bringing this up. This is not a small rinky-dink sundown town in Texas. I saw black folks. I saw Asian folks. Matter of fact, the demographics for Collin County and Denton County almost similar. So why they moved it out of Denton County? Because they only got about 1 or 2 more % of black citizens in Denton County. So I don't even know why. Well, I know why. I know why, because of the personal ties that has come up out of this right here. Do I have that picture? I'm about to upload this picture. But saying that, Collins County is not a rinky-dink sundown town like you thinking about. Listen, I think it said 1.3 million people live in Collin County. 1.3 million people live in Collin County. And out of those people, guess how many are registered voters who they said that's where they pulled the jury pool from randomly, supposed to be. Over 760,000 people are registered voters. So really that only left really about 500,000 citizens that was not resident registered voters. So why was it more black jurors called in to be candidates for the jurors? But remember, we're leaving out race tonight. We're going to leave out race tonight, but I'm just telling you what the demographics is. For both county, Denton County and Collins County still has about 10 to 14% of black folks. For each county, the average is out about 50 to 60% for white registered voters or white citizens, but they're not 100%. That's why I'm saying this is not a real sundown town. 50% of the other population in these counties are mixed: blacks, Asians, Indians, Hispanic. So listen, what we talking about? But I'm going to keep moving. Hold on. I want to pull up this right here. Okay. Now, Jasmine Crockett in the last, and I want to bring her up for a certain reason because I got a clip from her. As you know, Jasmine Crockett, and just hold on, let me go ahead and land my plane. That's what Tariq Nasheed says, land my plane. Jasmine Crockett, she lost the race in Texas, as we all know this, in March of 2026. And I think there is a reason, a destiny tied to her faith on why she lost this race, so she can actually focus and work behind the scenes for this particular case right here. Jasmine Crockett said something. Congressman. I'm still going to give that sister her title. Ex-Congressman Jasmine Crockett. This is what she said. When she was asked outside. Do I have that one? No. The other clips I got is from an interview that Hunter Metcalf and his mother did last year. And I like to review videos. And I got several clips that I want to review with the investors. And I want you to see and hear exactly what Hunter Metcalf said last year regarding the incident. Roughly 24 to 48 hours after it happened. And if you don't know this, I'm about to tell you, Hunter Metcalf was not even subpoenaed to appear from Karmelo Anthony's defense lawyer. He didn't even subpoena Hunter Metcalf. What's going on in Texas? What's going on in the big state of Texas? Let me go ahead and find this video right here. I want y'all to hear what ex-Congressman Jasmine Crockett had said. Here we go. Come on, Jasmine.
I've seen that Karmelo Anthony was sentenced to 35 years. I want to get your reaction to the trial and the verdict.
My heart breaks for so many reasons. And so I was just speaking to a student that is shadowing me who wants to be a public defender. And so it takes me back to what actually made me decide to get into this legislative work in the first place, because I know that our systems are broken. And what we saw with that verdict is the evidence of a broken system. Now listen, from everything that I understand, which I wasn't at the trial because obviously I got a day job, but it's my understanding that Karmelo ended up stabbing, puncturing, I don't know what this tool was that they talk about, knife, or some refer to it as a tool. He ended up hitting Austin one time, and it was about where he hit him. One time, 2 inches. This wasn't someone who said, hey, let me stab you 5, 6, 7 times. And so when you're looking at the punishment range, there's a reason in Texas that it goes from 5 to 99 or life, because you are looking at how intentional, like how bad was this? 35 years for a kid who had decided to go under a tent that was not his team's tent as it was raining, and simply didn't want to be put out in the rain by some random kid that he didn't know who was larger than him. Listen, a lot of people don't know what it is to live as a Black person in this country, but just like you can give the benefit of the doubt to so many police officers when they go out and they shoot some Black unarmed person, even though they are trained, the fact that there was little to no mercy seen or humanity seen when this Black boy said that I was scared, or the fact that honestly anybody else who did something with such a small object, all I know is that it wasn't considered unlawful carrying of a weapon because the blade was not long enough, that they wouldn't even say, well, maybe this was more so something that looked like manslaughter.
Well, some people might say, why are you even bringing a knife like that to a track meet?
Yeah, people may say that, but walk a day in my shoes and then respond. Because we as Black folks say, why is it that people need long-armed guns when we are going out and having a First Amendment protest? But people say that's their right. They are allowed to do that. And again, it wasn't against the law for him to have it. It may have been prohibited by school rules, which he wasn't at his school at the time. But it definitely was not against the law.
So you think race played a role in the verdict?
Oh my God. I know Collin County. So absolutely. Collin County is right north of Dallas County. And I can tell you that I have had cases that I felt like played out differently because of the counties that they were in. And unfortunately.
And so that was Jasmine Crockett on her input regarding the case. Now, we already know that Karmelo Anthony was sentenced. Was it this time? Yeah, it was actually, matter of fact, yesterday made exactly 1 week. So we're roughly about 8 days after the verdict. So I'm pretty sure that information is very, very fresh. Now, Jasmine Crockett is the perfect person, and that is the reason why I brought her up. If you don't know, she's also in Texas. She ran for a senator in Texas, so she's very familiar with Collins County. Hold on. What you say? What's up, Destin? I see you. Yes, different nationality, but they all identify. We know. Boycott. Sister, you know God always has been working in the deepest of darkness, and he's about to bring evil darkness to the light. Yes, when it comes to a child of his. We know, Terry, you just found me, but trust me, we was been in the trenches. And we got through that Shador Sanders, and all we talked about how God was working it out for him, even in sports. And I'm going to hammer on this again. If God worked it out for Shador Sanders in a child's game called football, just imagine what God is going to do for Karmelo Anthony. Karmelo Anthony. Y'all, we already went through how the transport was diverted on the way to the Bird unit. People make some calls. Somebody called a senator in Texas, and whatever they did when that bus left the facility, wherever they held him at, on the way to Bird, they had to divert to where Karmelo Anthony is currently located, y'all. And also, I want to bring this up here. I got this vision today, right? I got this vision early this morning. I got this vision, and I shared it with a dear friend of mine. I said, you know what? They put the wrong student behind bars. Somebody said, what you mean? I said, they put the wrong student behind bars. We're talking about a young man who wanted to study law, right? He had a 3.7 GPA, so he wasn't dumb. He was highly intelligent, right? He had 21 scholarships. 21 scholarships. So that means that his SAT scores and his ACT scores had to be quite high in order to get 21 scholarships. I said, the first couple of nights, even last night or last week, I was tossing and turning, just worrying about his safety in that jail until I got this image of Karmelo Anthony getting up every day after he does what he needs to do regarding his personal hygiene and eating breakfast or eating chow, whatever he needs to do. I'm seeing Karmelo Anthony in the jail legal library. Once again, they didn't put no YN in jail. This is not a thug. This is not a with the ER. This is not a with the soft A. This is a well-educated kid that they put behind bars. And I know probably for the first 3 to 4 days, it was hard on him mentally. It was hard on his psyche. But now he is shaking that off, and he is gathering up himself and his strength, and he's going to that library because he can read, write, and comprehend. And who knows? I'm pretty sure he's looking up legal statutes regarding his own case. So whenever he do meet with Donny Purcell, because I looked up his records too. Hold on. If y'all know who that is, let me go and put this picture up. Oh, y'all already talked about all the slides. And I got to come back to her because she's a lawyer. Once again, just a reminder, this is the tool. This is the tool. This is the so-called knife that TSA allows on planes. This is what the wordplay was crazy, y'all, when this story broke out last year. But hold on. I got some clips from last year. You definitely gonna want to hear. Hold on. This is the appeal that was signed on the day after his verdict. And you can see in the top right-hand corner, this is a date that it was filed. Hold on. What I'm talking about. Hold on. This right here, this is what we also going to get in tonight. Oh, yeah. Because even before this appeal goes through, if they decide to slow walk this right here, I'm looking for a federal takeover and a federal intervention. We gonna come back to this slide. But let me go ahead and find these pictures of Donny. Let me find these pictures of Donny. Here we go. Here's Donny. So I looked up Donny's. Of course, I couldn't see his winning records, how many cases that he'd had, won or lost. But according to not AI, what I did on my own research, he has 20 legal years of experience and being an appellate court lawyer. Okay, so all I can say is I hope he's going in there with the right mindset. I hope he goes in with the right mindset. So you already know this was a court opponent appeal lawyer from McKinney, from Collins County. This is the same county that found Karmelo Anthony guilty. Now, what's the purpose of what he's supposed to do? And I hope he does his job. This is what I'm about to tell you. I want to show you this. The intent, the only thing that he's supposed to do, and I hope I included this right here. There's only so many things that he's supposed to do. And one of the things is he's supposed to look over to see if the judge, listen to what I'm about to say, basically, if the judge did their job. Now, if he's in the same county, in which this is why I got an uneasy feeling about this, because if he was appointed by the court to look over Karmelo Anthony appeal case, why are you in the same county? I would have want them to get some other, appointed lawyer from a different county. But that's why I think this right here is going to lead to a federal takeover and a federal intervention. So if it happens, just know you heard it over here at Tony Talks Vested Up, because of what they're still doing behind the scenes. Oh, and I'm glad this is a small room so far. Because of what they're doing now, it's like they think that we're dumb, where they don't think that we can probably read and comprehend ourselves, and we would just go along with Donny here being a court appointed attorney for Karmelo Anthony's appeal case. But why is it in the same county? That's why I think this is grounds for a federal takeover and a federal intervention. Now, if they start walking this thing real slow, I'm pretty sure that the federal government, including the Supreme Court, may come down and snatch this case. And I don't think Collins County want the federal government to come knocking on their door and start requesting evidence regarding this case. And if they see something, just like the NFL in the Brian Flores case, if they see where something is damaging and, hey, I see major issues down here, they don't want a federal investigation coming to Collins County. So Donny, I'm looking at Donny right now. I hope they're smart enough to tell Donny, do your job and, fall on the knees of integrity and do right by this and let it at least go to a mistrial and go somewhere else. Because if the federal government comes to Collins County and take over this case and find issues with this case, they would have all legal right to start looking at other cases and other cases and other cases. So Donny, Collins County legal courtroom, whatever system you want to call yourself, you need to tell Donny to do right by Anthony and try to approve a change of venue way out of where 200-300 Houston's, San Antonio, Austin, wherever you need to be to keep the federal government out of your trash can. Let me go to the chats. Yes, Jasmine Crockett lost in a rigged map. Yes, Destin. Redraw election that caused her to run for Senate, not the House. She's still in the House of Representatives until the end of the year. Excellent attorney. Hey, what I said earlier, I think it still stands. Gotcha. But thank you for that. Destin. Gotcha. Hey, what's going on? We'll catch up on the info with replay. What's up, Mel? Listen, it's perfect timing because we getting deep into this Karmelo, Anthony information that I got. Okay. Now we played that clip regarding Karmelo Anthony. Now I want to pull this up here, y'all. I want to make this real big so y'all can see this. So this is actually testimony, quote unquote. This is a quote that came out of the actual case. Now, media and some YouTuber podcasters were allowed to go into the courtroom. It was very limited seating in there. So whoever got in, I think it was 30 slots a day. Whoever got in. And I'm assuming that Court TV or one of their representatives got in. This is actually from the actual witness on the stand. Now, does this sound like somebody? And y'all know, I had an issue with first degree murder. I have an issue with the whole entire thing because I believe he should have never went to court. Now, I have an issue with the first degree charge because you have to show premeditated murder and intent. I want to bring that up with first degree charge. It's two things that the prosecutor did not show proof of. And of course, the defense attorney didn't push back on the charges. He even could push back on the charges, but it's premeditated and it's the intent. Now, does this sound like intent? It reads. Let me go and open this right here. Let me go ahead and take my time. Personnel called it a puncture room, according to witnesses. Coach Vincent Harper, the Heritage High School head coach. Now, mind you, Karmelo Anthony was from Centennial. I think he's from Centennial or Memorial. So I don't think this is actually his coach, but let me go ahead and read this right here. Coach Vincent Hooper, the Heritage High School head football coach, prevented Karmelo Anthony from leaving, right? After the puncture room, Tiffany Whitaker, an athletic trainer, pointed Karmelo out to Coach Hooper and instructed him not to let Karmelo Anthony leave. Coach Hooper then put his arm around Karmelo and walked with him. Okay, first of all, if Karmelo Anthony was trying to get away from the scene, do you think this young man would have let anybody catch up with him to walk with him? If this was premeditated and if he had the intentions of hurting anybody that day, do you think that he would have been still in the vicinity? He was a track star. I don't care if Tiffany Whitaker pointed him out to anybody. Do you think they would have caught 17-year-old, 135-pound track star if he wanted to get away from the vicinity? See, I'm not even a legal lawyer. And some of these contributing factors, I could have been arguing no against first degree because, hey, he wasn't even trying to get away from the scene. He actually went up and talked to some other coaches. What are we talking about? He was a star athlete, prime, young. I mean, whoo! Do you think somebody in their 30s and 40s and 50s would have caught up with a Karmelo Anthony if he wanted to get away from the scene, right? Let's go to the next one. Let's go ahead and break this thing down. Since he did not have proper defense counsel, let's go ahead and see what Mike Howard could have said. All right, here we go. Let me go to the next one now. Mind you, right? Tiffany Whitaker thinks that she is the hero because she told Coach Harper of cross-examination. Witness number 4, Vincent Harper. Now, this actually came from the coach, right? That went up and put his arms around Karmelo Anthony. Now, going back to this slide right here, does it say anything regarding this here that when Coach Hooper went up to, how can I say, walk up to Karmelo Anthony, he was agitated or he aggressive or he wanted to fight? Nah, it said none of that. Coach Hooper said he was able to walk up and put his arm around him. Let's go and read this right here. In cross-examinations, this is what Coach Harper said. I don't think Karmelo actually thought Austin would pass away. He was crying. I do believe his emotions was genuine. Karmelo didn't even try to run from me. Does this sound like a premeditated M-word? And does it sound like he intended to do what he did? The only thing that Karmelo Anthony intended to do was self-defend himself from being jumped into by them 4 boys in the stands. And guess what? I got Hunter Metcalf from an interview last year saying that we approach Karmelo Anthony. For everybody that's been in my comments under the last 2 videos said that he did not get jumped, and you got some people believing that Hunter was not even there. Oh, look at the media. Once again, just like we've been covering regarding the Shedeur Sanders saga in the last year, the media, look what they can do with their pen, their pad, and just their fingers. But that's why it takes people like us to start digging and looking at everything and scrutinize everything and being objective. Karmelo Anthony is one of ours. Karmelo Anthony is one of our good ones. I refuse to let them take him down. He is not a, once again, he is not a thug. He is not a YN. He did everything right. He had 21 scholarships. He had a GPA of 3.7. He came from a loving home. He was invited to that tent. Let me stay the course. 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 Hold on. What's up, Meter Lee? What's going on, Meter Lee? What's going on, Meter Lee? And how you doing, Lady PC? Now let's keep going. I'm in a row. You know I gotta keep going. I gotta keep going because they're trying to do something wrong. So once again, I'm gonna say to Donny, Perales, or however you pronounce your name, listen, Collins County, even John Judge Roach, Mike Howard, they need to tell you to do your job, because if not, there will be a federal takeover and a federal intervention if you don't. And if you get the Supreme Court caught up in this, I got evidence that Supreme Court is going to use exactly what Mike Howard should have used in Karmelo Anthony's defense. In his defense, not to get the charges downgraded, but to actually get the case thrown out. Because hey, if the right video would have came out, it showed self-defense, but of course that didn't enter as evidence in the trial. There was no exhibit A video 11 minutes long showing Karmelo Anthony getting jumped, but we're gonna talk about that. Hold on, let me go here. So that is his lawyer right now, y'all. That's his lawyer. Let me see here. Okay, no, that's regarding that's the dates regarding the supplemental draft. Okay, so I'm in the right place here. Now, here we go. I'm gonna come back to her right here. Hold on, it jumped on me. One second. Here we go. Oh, no. And once again, I want to keep bringing this up. They were so aggressive in how they handled this case and this young boy. They held court on Saturday, never heard of. And who has ever been convicted, sentenced, and transported within 24 hours? It has never, ever, ever happened. So take a screenshot of this. I put this screen up before, and I'm not going to read over no more, but hold on, let me get this down. Take a screenshot of this here. Even AI said it doesn't know of anybody that has been convicted, sentenced, and transported in the same day. Y'all, they chewed this case up so bad. That's why I think, because of this uproar, that is this, it's becoming massive, right? I think the federal government is going to come in and take over this case. It's going to have to be a federal intervention into this case. Because if not, I just want to laugh here. So take a screenshot. Let me go ahead and move forward. And once again, this is where he was moved to. I like showing this young man. Look at that face. Look at this face. This is a young boy. When this happened. Look at this face. This is not a YN. Once again, this is not a YN. This is not a third. This is not a nigga with an ER, and this is not a nigga with a soft A. This is Karmelo Anthony. No troubled background, no nothing, and for 35 years for self-defense. He's currently at the Wallace Pack Unit, which is a medium security facility, okay, where Karmelo Anthony will be given everything he needs and medical attention. If you don't know, he had epilepsy, okay? If Karmelo Anthony gets out of prison, okay, right, Now, and I played this video of this gentleman here in the white hat. Now, this is a white man saying this. Texas man speaks out on behalf of Karmelo Anthony. If he had been white, it would have been self-defense. Not only would he not be convicted, he would have never been charged. Facts, 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 facts. Let's keep going. This is the 2. We don't talked about that. This is the appeal. And I'm going to stay right here. Hold on. Now, when I said of a federal takeover and federal intervention, this is what I mean, y'all. When federal authorities step in because of alleged civil rights violations, corruptions, and other lawful conduct by local officials, the case may be investigated or prosecuted by the U.S. Department of Justice rather than local authorities. I think it's heading that way. Especially, let me hold one. I don't want to tell everything. I'm not going to tell everything, but let's just watch and see what's going to happen, right? Let's see here. Removal to federal court. So if the case gets removed from local authorities, Collins County, to the federal level, it's called removal to federal court. A case is transferred from state court to a federal court under specific legal grounds. This is called a removal. So anytime you start seeing headlines with the words of possible removal from Collins County, either they're gonna do a change of venue to an unbiased district, or the federal government is going to take over this case, right? Look at this right here. Now, let's just say it does stay in Collins County, right? Which I don't think it should or would. What they should do next time, hire a special prosecutor or an independent prosecutor. I'm down on the 4th bullet. A prosecutor from outside of the local office is appointed when there is a conflict of interest, misconduct concerns, and a need for impartiality. Y'all, we already know this. We've been screaming this for the last 8 to 9 days of conflict of interest between the judge, the judge, the DA, and the father. And now some people is even saying that the defense attorney, yes, the defense attorney, Mike Howard, was working for the prosecutor. Okay, misconduct concerns and a need for impartiality. Let's see here. Let's see right here. Okay, if you're referring specifically, I'm all the way down to the bottom. If you're referring specifically to a criminal case being taken away from a county prosecutor because of alleged illegal conduct, the most likely terms are appointment of a special prosecutor, which I think they need to do, or recuser of district attorney's office, or in a more extreme situation, federal intervention. Federal intervention. Y'all, if you don't know, people already starting called Republicans and Democrats because they want to know what is going on in Collins County and if it's true about this young man has been railroaded and all these other things that are coming out about a videotape that was never shown to the jury or that was out. The parents say they didn't even know of another videotape. So even Democrats and Republicans are calling on their House of Representatives, their senators, and some are even calling on President Trump to get involved and at least see what is going on in Collins County. Let me go to the comments and then I'm going to continue to move forward because I got some audio clips I want you to hear. The only thing I found out on Donny Perales, he won one case of first-degree murder trial in 2008, but they keep the personal identity hid. Trial last 1 week. Challenge state case. Jury found not guilty. Well, he got to do a little bit more than that. I tried to look up some information regarding his court records and winning records. I need to do some more digging, but I don't know if that information is public. But I'm going to continue to look at it. Now, I do want to show you this here, and I don't have it. Regarding an appeal in Texas, especially a trial of this magnitude, a trial that would be needed for an appeal or a mistrial or to go back to trial. In Texas, it costs $30,000 to $50,000. So if Bootsy Badass did like he said and donated $500,000 to that family, they got the money now to hire a private attorney and appeal the verdict, hopefully to get this thing thrown out. Okay. Now, so I said, well, if they are, they have already sealed up all of the evidence, I've sealed up all of the evidence. I even asked AI, like, why would they seal up the evidence, right? So let me go ahead and put this out here. Let me see. I agree. They also need to ask for a case to be moved to conflict of interest. And I got that. Hold on. I got that right there. I got to download that picture when the next video is playing, because I can show proof of conflict of interest. Hold on. So I asked AI, why would a judge or anybody seal up evidence after a guilty verdict? This is what AI said. These are common reasons, right? And it does says a guilty verdict. This is at the top. A guilty verdict does not automatically make every piece of evidence public. Gotcha. Now, protecting privacy issues, interests. Medical records, autopsy photos, graphic injury photos. He only had one puncture wound, so that's not graphic. And even if I could get this, I wouldn't want to get this because this is a young man that lost his life, and I don't want to see nothing like this. But these are the reasons where they would seal evidence. Okay. Personal identifiable information about minors. Okay, he did pass away. But the video, that's something totally different. There's nothing in here regarding evidence that could free somebody else in a court of law. There is nothing listed under number 1 that says regarding videos that could free another man's life, a young man's life in a court of law. Not a one. Now here we go. Number 2, protecting victims and family. In homicide cases, courts sometimes restrict access to crime scenes photos. Understandable. Autopsy images. Understandable. Sensitive family information. We're not asking for nobody address. We're not asking for no crime scene photos. We just want to see the video. Not one time. There's number 1 and number 2 list where a video should be suppressed or sealed from public viewing. Let's go number 3. Now, number 3, I can see this. But remember, the court, Collins County, and the Texas Attorney General sealed the video before number 3 even happens. Let's go over number 3. Number 3 is after a conviction, the case is not necessarily over. We know this. We saw the appeal, notice to appeal. We got that. Number 3 says, if an appeal is pending, a judge may seek to preserve the integrity of the record. Okay, ensure evidence remains available for appellate review and prevent misuse of exhibits outside of court's process. Gotcha. Totally got that. If they never sealed and suppressed the video from even going into court, that is misconduct of evidence. That is illegal withholding of evidence, especially when the verdict would have been totally different if the evidence was submitted. But that video was suppressed and sealed before number 3 even hit the airwaves. All right. And then confidential, number 4, category 4, confidential or protected information. Evidence may contain juvenile records, Karmelo Anthony did not have a juvenile record. Now I'm hearing that the Metcalf sons, they were expelled, but that has nothing to do with the video that could free Karmelo Anthony, right? Protect witness information. Well, it depends on how you look at that, because that video does show where there were 6 boys that approached Karmelo Anthony. 2 went off to the side to divert or distract coach, while 4 went up to the bleachers and they jumped and confronted Karmelo Anthony. So it depends on how you want to look at witnesses. I call them commission to a felony. Commission to a felony. So that is part of a crime. So I wouldn't call them witnesses, right? Addresses, phone numbers, and other sensitive data, confidential government recordings, none of that. So number 4 is out the window. Okay, let's see here. The prophetess said it's wrong to justify sin. Oh, this prophetess says it's wrong to justify sin. Karmelo committed murder and the people should not justify the murder. She's a black lady who said to look it up. Let's keep going. Let's keep going. If she said that, she don't know the facts. She doesn't know the facts, because I'm pretty sure there are Bible verses in the Bible that states about being wrongfully convicted of anything. Oh Lord, y'all don't want me to go there. Oh, y'all don't want me to go there. Let me hold back. 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 All right, here we go. Here we go. Thank you, Father. All right, so what is usually public? So since they have sealed the evidence, right? Let's see what is usually public. And I definitely don't want. I definitely don't want this here regarding the autopsy, because a lot of people now is calling for the autopsy. Well, what did the autopsy show? Did the autopsy show that he passed away from a heart attack or a stab wound? And based on what I was able to find, it did say the manner of death was homicide. Okay, but what is usually public? Under Texas law, an autopsy report prepared by a medical examiner is generally considered a public record and can often be obtained through a public information request once the report is complete. If this event happened over a year ago, right? A year ago and 2 months, I'm pretty sure the report is fully complete. Public portions may include name of deceased, date and place of death, cause of death, manner of death, description of injuries. Now that would be the only thing I would want to see, is the description of the injuries, toxicology findings, and medical examination conclusions. Y'all, we already know they said that. Now let me stop there. I ain't gonna say that. Hey, how you doing? Blind Beauty Big Time. I gotta filter myself tonight. I can't tell everything. I can't tell everything. I can't tell everything. I'm not knocking on everybody's belief or practices, but don't mess with. Now, man, you go. Now, man, hold on. Mel, let's keep going. Let's keep going. Is this one right here? Okay, I've seen that next one. We've seen that next one. Okay, no. Okay, here we go. Now, I want to save this one. And this is the last slide. I want to save this one. Oh, no. I'm going to save this other one. Let's talk about these witnesses, because we're going to come back to that one. We're going to come back to this one. Now, there is rumors, like I said, that on the witness stand, they said something totally different from what they gave the police the day of the event. Those police statements are totally different. So I said, let me go ahead and see what Texas says about perjury. They said everybody that got on the stands said something totally different about from what they gave the police that day. And what a defense attorney didn't have exhibit A 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hey, on the day of the incident, you said this. They said that the defense attorney didn't have not even the statements that were drafted that day. Let me go and play this right here, y'all. I'm making too much common sense. Hold on. Let's see what he got to say.
Update. Here is an email I have obtained.
Oh no, I want to save him. I want to save him for the Metcalf video. I want to save him. I want to save that one.
Update. Here is an email.
No, not that. I don't want to play that one. Here we go.
Filled out the Freedom of Information Act just like Dwayne Turner did, and he's saying that the video he saw does not correspond at all with what the witness statements were inside the courtroom. Listen to this.
Yeah, so again, my name is Tony Sturdivant. I was one of the individuals that put in a FOIA request to see the video. What I saw was starkly different from the testimony that I heard given in the trial. There were 6 kids that walked up, 2 splintered off. I guess that part of was introduced in the trial where they went to deflect the coach. The other 4 walked directly to Karmelo Anthony. There was a brief conversation, I say maybe 20, 30 seconds, and from there, a scuffle ensued. It didn't last long. Karmelo backed up the canopy. He looked one way, looked to the left, and flew down those bleachers. Now, this is the video that was presented to us. This is the question that I have, though. Why wasn't that video presented in court? And is it the true video? Because, again, it's starkly different from the testimony given in the trial. Karmelo Anthony flew down those bleachers, fell at the bottom of the bleachers, got up, took off. There was maybe 2 or 3 kids that you can see kind of give chase, but Karmelo was gone, so they weren't even going to put a finger on him and touch him. Again, there was a scuffle that ensued at the top of the bleachers, and Karmelo got out of there. But I don't know why that was not brought up in court. I don't know why that was shown. I don't know if the ISD gave us a bogus-ass video. I don't know, but that's what I saw.
Yes, I think that should be everybody's question is, why did they not show that video in court? What video did they show in court?
Mm-hmm.
Who's lying? Who is covering up what actually happened?
Mm-hmm.
Because in my opinion, from what I know on this case, Karmelo Anthony should not be sitting in prison for 35 years. It was self-defense.
Come on with it.
We need to get a hold of those videos. The public deserves to see what actually happened. We see this all the time where police will lie, say somebody shot at them, and then we see the body cam footage and it's a complete fabrication. What do you guys think? I am here to expose all of their lies and all of their racist secrets.
Do y'all hear that right there? And now, and some of these from the other community has been speaking out from the beginning of this, after the conviction, right? So some of these people from the white community has been speaking out from the beginning. Now let me play another clip. Same man. Let me see what.
And I believe the fix is in on Karmelo Anthony. We have another gentleman who saw the tape. He filled out the Freedom of Information Act.
Okay, that's the one.
Dwayne Turner.
So that's what I just played out. I do got one more clip from him. That's 2 minutes and 44. Now the clip that I just played in its entirety, when he's talking about he's watched the video. Well, before the video was sealed, and before I'm assuming they knew that a case was going to come out of this thing, you can go to Collins County. Well, matter of fact, you can go to the website, because I was going to do it last week until I heard that the video was being sealed. And as we know now, all of the evidence is sealed in the case, right? And who knows, Collins County may have already received a notice from the federal government to seal off the evidence, because maybe it's about to be a federal takeover or federal intervention into this thing, right? Here we go. So the gentleman, his name was Tony someone. The video he's talking about, before it was sealed, you could go online and request a copy, request what is it called? Information Freedom Act of Information, something like that. I know I messed up the acronym and the term, but you could fill out a form. Collins County you could set up an appointment. They will call you to confirm or reschedule you with your appointment. Whenever your appointment is, you could go up to the courthouse and watch the actual video. So when people saying, oh, why the jury didn't see the 11-minute video from before the incident happened and after the incident happened, that's what they're talking about. So Tony Talks vested up, well, what video did the jury see? Well, according to everybody that was in the room, when that particular video was played, the people that were sitting out in the courtroom could see it. They said that the DA turned the TV where only the jury could see the video. What they saw, I don't know. Now, if they saw the real video, right, that showed where that young man was actually defending himself, and they still gave a first degree, Collins counties would be no more. Collins County would be no more. Let me go to the next one. Hold on. The Bible states that every person should protect themselves and their family. The Bible states that every person should protect themselves and family. So whoever that prophetess was, they don't know all of the details. Oh my gosh. I feel sorry for anybody, especially with day 8 or 9 after the verdict and the appeal has been submitted and filed. If they don't know, if they don't know what they're talking about, don't say nothing at all. If you don't know what you're talking about, if you don't know the details, don't say nothing at all. Justin, okay, Mel said, I subscribe to the word. Amen. Amen again. Yes, they sealed the video when they began to get too many requests to see the video. Yes. Now, let me bring this up. Now, I wanted you to hear that of people saying, and then I got another one, of people getting up and not seeing this and saying this on the witness stand and regarding statements that they gave the police last year. Perjury. Texas Penal Code 37.02. A person commits perjury by knowingly making false statements under oath with the intent to receive. I swear to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. So help me God. Y'all seen that, right? So this is what we're talking about. Punishment. Class A misdemeanor, up to 1 year in county jail and fine up to $4,000. Listen, do you see or do you see 1 year in county jail or $4,000? No, it's a misdemeanor. You got to do up to 1 year in county jail and fine up to for $4,000. And with a case of this magnitude, I think it's going to be this right here. Go down to the next one. Aggravated perjury. Penal code. Now, this is a different penal code now, because the first one was 37.02. This is his Texas Penal Code 37.03. And this is what I'm thinking, that there are all them witnesses that got up there and lied. They're going to get hit, especially if the federal government has to come down and intervene. It's going to be, matter of fact, they may get hit with a federal charge for perjury. You hear what I'm saying? But as of now, let's say if it stays in Texas, Penal Code 37.3. If a false statement is made during or in connection with an official proceeding, such as a court hearing or trial, and materials to the proceeding, then it can be charged as aggravated perjury. Punishment: third degree felony, 2 to 10 years in prison, plus fine up to $10,000. For all of those young people, all you had to do was tell the truth. But however, some of the theories that's going around, the reason why they couldn't tell the truth, because you cannot tell the truth and ignore commission to a felony. If not the witnesses, but the ones that went up on the bench and confronted Karmelo Anthony in a fight and stood, and somebody did lose their life, they would be an accessory and they would be commissioned to a felony. And also, don't forget this term. In Texas, it's called a multiple assailant rule. If multiple people confront one person, that one person can see that crowd as a deadly weapon, and they have the right, once again, to defend themselves. Why nobody is talking about the contributing factors? Everybody that has come in my comment and have said, oh no, this is not happening. Oh, I had some people even arguing with me under the comments saying that Karmelo Anthony didn't even have 21 scholarships. I said, you need to go back wherever you came from, because you don't even know the basic the basic details of who this young man is. What are you doing here, basically? But remember, commission to a felony and a perjury, and especially if it comes back that they committed perjury, all their scholarships will definitely be ripped from them. And commission to a felony, if you was part of that act that caused Austin Metcalf to be pulled away, you have time on your hand. Commission to a felony. This is why I think they are suppressing the video, because would you want to, if you was Collin County, hint, would you only want to send Karmelo Anthony to jail, or would you want to send 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 other students to jail that has scholarships? Forget Karmelo Anthony with his 21 scholarships, and he was self-defending himself. Oh no, I know your mama, your daddy, I know your auntie, I even know you. I see you all the time. Which one? Lady of Liberty, which one? You know they took Karmelo Anthony and they chose Karmelo Anthony, y'all. So I just wanted to show you that. If someone knowingly lies under oath doing a criminal trial, which this is, and the lie could affect the outcome of the case, which it did, prosecutors would typically consider aggravated perjury, exposing that person to 2 to 10 years in prison if convicted. That's why I said what I said. Let's keep going. Hold on, let me play this other one here. And then we're going to go into the Metcalf videos. And then I'm going to let y'all go, Vestals. I'm going to let y'all go. I hope you're taking your notes. Here we go.
And I believe the fix is in on Karmelo Anthony. We have another gentleman who saw the tapes.
Okay, so that's the same video. But there's one other video I'm going to play later that's coming from him. Now, is that, let me go in and upload this video right here, because I want to show you. Matter of fact, just let me hold it right here. This came from LLKK TV. You know who I'm talking about. I played her clips the other night. I'm not going to show her name, but who do you see in this picture right here, y'all? Let me go down real slow, because I don't want to show her name. Matter of fact, let me go ahead and crop her name, because I don't want to expose her or her channel, because she's doing excellent work over there, and I want her to continue to do that right there. But let me go ahead and show this picture here without her channel name, because I don't want the haters to go over there and disturb nothing she's doing. But you know who I'm talking about. LLKK TV. Look at this right here, y'all. Who is in this picture? Who is in this picture? Who is in this picture? Doesn't that look like the Honorable Judge John Roach? Right here. And who's in the middle? Who's in the middle? Isn't that Jeff Metcalf? And since it's nighttime, they can't say that it's a fundraiser. They can't say it's work related. They can't say it's a conference. No, they're drinking. You know how I know how they're drinking? Because look at what they got in their hands. Right there. This is not work related. They know each other, y'all. let me go ahead and take a put this back up here so y'all can go ahead and take a screenshot of this. Y'all probably already saw the picture, but just in case, here we go. Now, why I hold this up? Let me go back to this because I want this to resonate, y'all. Hold on, I want this to resonate. When I put this slide up here, when I call for it's going to be a federal takeover. Hold on. This one right here, federal takeover. Hold on. If this doesn't call for a federal takeover, a federal intervention, I don't know what is. And let me go ahead and read this while I look at them. While you look at them one more time, let me change hands. I want to get all three. I want to hit it hard. Hold on. Yes. A federal takeover or federal intervention when federal authorities step in because of illegal civil rights violation, corruption, or other unlawful conduct by local authorities. The case may be investigated or prosecuted by the United States Department of Justice rather than local authorities. We want to look for, once again, the terms called federal takeover, federal intervention, and removal from local authorities. Now, let me go ahead here. Is it time for the Metcalf? Hold on. It's another video of him. Hey, thank you again. I'm not going to show this video, but hear this.
4 boys walk up to Karmelo, who's under the tent minding his business.
Oh.
There was 4 boys and a few others, he said.
Hold on. I'm going to play this. I want you to see this, but I'm going to bring it down. So I want to protect her face, because you know who I'm talking about, because I don't want the haters to find her. But hold on.
The video was very clear. You can even see the raindrops. You can see 4 boys walk up to Karmelo, who's under the tent minding his business. Now, there was 4 boys and a few others, he said. A couple of the others were distracting the coach while they jumped Karmelo. He said it was really in the rain delay. The twins and a few of their buddies, 4 of them and 3 other ones, one distracted the coach, and they surrounded Karmelo. A few seconds later, they jumped him. Austin pushed him. The twins were in the middle. They were all jumping Karmelo. Hunter said Karmelo threw his bag. That is not true. Hunter grabbed his bag, but it shows they threw his bag away. And under Texas law, you just have to fear for your life. They start hitting Karmelo. Karmelo tried to get away, but Austin pulls him in by the hoodie, he says, and they pull him back under the tent. Austin then put him in a headlock. Karmelo got away, and then you see Austin grab his chest. But all the stuff about Hunter rendering aid, holding the blood in, was a lie, because he says the coach grabbed him away and pulled him out of the scene. He said,
all credit the LLKK TV. You know who that is? I want to play that one more time, because I'm finna go into Hunter's interview from last year with his mother outside of their house. And for all the people that says that Hunter Metcalf was not there that day that the event happened, the devil is a lie, because Hunter is going to tell you exactly what happened last year from his point of view, out of his mouth, when he said, we and Austin and they were there. He was there. And once again, why didn't Mike Howard subpoena Hunter Metcalf? You know why? Because he was going to get up there and lie. And they didn't want him to get up there and lie and accidentally say something that was going to cost a whole entire mistrial. Hold on, let's play this again.
The video was very clear. You can even see the raindrops. You can see 4 boys walk up to Karmelo, who's under the tent business. Now, there was 4 boys and a few others, he said. A couple of the others were distracting the coach while they jumped Karmelo. He said it was really in the rain delay. The twins and a few of their funded Karmelo. Karmelo. Karmelo tried to get away, but Austin pulls him in by the hoodie, he says, and they pulled him back under the tent. Austin then put him in a headlock. Carmelo got away, and then you see Austin grab his chest. But all this stuff about Hunter rendering aid, holding the blood in, was a lie, because he says the coach grabbed him away and pulled him out of the scene. He said,
Shout out to Keisha. Shout out to Keisha. Shout out to Keisha. Come on with it. Come on with it. Shout out to Keisha. Shout out. Now, let's go to Hunter himself. You know how we got to do. Hold on, let me make sure I got everything out in the slides. I got to come back to this one. And I want to go ahead and bring this up here so I don't forget it, because this is what his lawyer, Karmelo Anthony lawyer, should have used by default. I'm gonna stay right here. That's my place. That's my marker. Now let's come on up to the stage. Come up to the stage and let me turn off the music so you can actually hear what's being said, because investors and viewers, I want you to hear out of Austin Metcalf's own mind. Over 1 year ago, I found the evidence with the help of watching Keisha, her video, right? And I said, well, let me go ahead and let me see if I can see the whole thing. Whole investors, come onto the stage. Hunter Metcalf and his mother. They could be out of order, but you know how we're going to do it. We're going to play it, and I'm going to give my commentary.
I mean, our relationship is really the tightest I've ever seen in somebody, like, between two human beings. I mean, we did everything together. Clean the dishes together, do the yard work together, sports. You name anything in the world, it's always us two and one thing. So you're always just basically one person.
Just a few minutes apart?
4.
Mm-hmm. Austin was first.
Hold on. Nope. I tried it. No. Hold on. I tried it. Nope. Hold on. Hold on. Oh no, can't have this breaking up. I want clear audio right here. No. Hold on, y'all. Y'all know how we do it over here. It's on this phone here. All right, here we go.
It's a really hard loss, but we're gonna get through it. Pass away like that. I mean, our relationship is really the tightest I've ever seen in somebody, like, between two human beings. I mean, we did everything together. Do the yard work together, sports. You name anything in the world, it's always us two and one thing. So you're always just one basically.
Austin was first by 4 minutes. He got stuck in me.
So technically your bigger brother.
Yes, ma'am. He does a lot of big brother stuff around. He's always on my back. Even if I'm in the wrong, he'll always take my side no matter what it is. So it's just really heartbreaking to see someone that that much and does everything even by your side no matter what, just pass away like that.
When your mom told me that you were there.
Yes, ma'am.
If you don't mind, what happened?
There was.
Did you hear he said, I was there? For all the haters and the viewers, Metcalf just said he was there. He just confirmed that he was there at the stadium that day. Hold on.
This kid, before I knew his name now, this kid was sitting under our tent at track. We asked him to move. He started getting aggressive and talking reckless. And this kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see. Reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, you need to move. He's like, make me move. Also grabbed his backpack. This kid, I tried to whip around as fast as reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, you need to move. He's like, make me move. Also grabbed his backpack. This kid.
Did you hear that Austin grabbed his backpack? Now, did Austin have a backpack with a potential tool in it? Or did he grab Karmelo's backpack, which would have been theft? So that means that Karmelo Anthony would have had a right to defend himself, save his life, and also if Austin grabs Karmelo's book bag, he also had a right to defend his property. We also need to look into the Texas laws regarding defending your personal property. I continue to play that over and over and over again because Hunter just said that Austin grabbed his book bag. He didn't specify if it was Austin's book bag or Karmelo's book bag. But even if Austin grabbed his own book bag, what was Austin going into his book bag for? Hold on.
I tried to whip around as fast as I could, reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." He's like, "Make me move." Also, grab this backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see. Reckless. And my brother stepped in and said, "You need to move." He's like, "Make me move." Also, grab this backpack. The kid, I tried to whip around as fast as I could, but I didn't see the stab. But then I look at my brother, and I'm not gonna talk about the rest. So just that's just what I saw. And I try to help him.
It was just senseless.
It was really senseless. Really, I don't know why a person would do that to someone just over that little argument. It's just crazy in this world nowadays how people just up and do that. Like a man has a family. That man has people that care about them all the time, and he did everything for our family too. He was a strong man. He was a strong kid. I was strong, and I know I'm strong too, but he's a little stronger. But he did a lot for our family and a bunch of stuff that we just don't recognize. And everyone knew, like, he was the peacemaker. He heard someone who really makes peace, makes everything. Because I get upset, but then he calls me now. He's just all there.
I want to play that part. Now people are saying that the reason why the father was looking at Hunter that day at the event, because somebody had mentioned that the father was looking at Hunter odd that day outside the hospital or outside of the stadium, looking at him very oddly. Now, Hunter just stated that he gets mad a lot and that Austin is the peacemaker. Well, what if Hunter was the first one that went up to those bleachers and confronted Karmelo Anthony? And because he got highly upset and confronted Anthony, Austin got highly upset and confronted Anthony, and a fight ensued. But what if Austin, to protect his brother, since Hunter just said that Austin is bigger than him, what if he went in to defend his brother and accidentally got punctured, which took his life? See, when you don't show the videotape, you let people come up with their own conclusions. The video could set all of this, could just, how can I say, clear all of this up. But since we don't have that, we get to go back to videos like this and just hear what his brother had to say. Y'all, hold on. It's more. Watch this. It's more.
So it's just really heartbreaking to see like how this happened. 17.
Yeah, I'll be 18 in July.
I saw a lot of articles say you guys were 16. I wasn't sure.
Yeah, they're 17.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Austin wanted to play football.
Okay, so that was it. Hold on. So the next one here.
Like recklessness.
My focus of my story is, of course, on Austin. That is what's most important. But what would you say about the suspect and what's next?
I don't know anything about him. We have nothing to say.
I've never met this kid until right then. It really was under 30 seconds, this altercation. I've never met this kid in my entire life. It's just,
And to be honest with you, we don't want to give him any recognition or any care because we're not, we have no desire to have anything to do with that man. So
why does she refer to Karmelo Anthony as a man? Karmelo Anthony, once again, was 5'8" and 135 pounds. The Metcalf twins, and we already heard that Austin was the bigger of the twin. He was over 225 pounds and 6'2". Karmelo Anthony, sitting down already at 5'8", he probably came up to Austin's waistline. But they want us to believe that Karmelo Anthony was the aggressor in this case against the Metcalf brothers. Are you crazy? Are you crazy? Let's keep going. But why would the mother refer to Karmelo Anthony as a man? We already know why. But I said for this particular live right here, I'm not going to bring up the race card, and I'm not going to bring up melanin. But you know that there is always a common stereotype that our young boys look older than what they are. But in this case, Karmelo Anthony looks like a middle schooler compared to the Metcalf brothers. 5'8" and 135. They had 100 extra pounds on Karmelo Anthony. Body to body, pound to pound. Let me keep going. I want to get to one clip. Then I'm going to go back to, what's his name? Secret Service Sam. I played that one. Let me play this one.
Communicates and has great ways with people all the time. I always looked up to him for like that. He was a big brother in a sense, at the same age, but he was a big brother to me.
we just want to make sure that everybody knows how much that Austin is going to be still in our lives, as far as in our memories and our hearts forever. You know, it's going to be really hard. This is going to be really hard.
See how much you guys love and adore him.
Yeah, I'm really trying not to cry, but it's
It's your baby.
yeah. He was my big baby. He was 225 pounds. Both of them big boys, and I loved movie time with them. They would ask me if I'd watch a movie and sit on the couch, and he'd put his head on my lap, and I'd scratch his back, and he was just, I don't know, he'd tell me things. He was so personable with me, and you know, I knew stuff that most teenagers wouldn't tell their moms, that just things that because we were close, you know, and now it's going to be us wrangling the future together.
I know you were with him till the end, right? Did you hold him the whole time?
I didn't. They yanked me off.
They had to leave. He had to be removed when they did CPR. And then he wasn't able to be in the ambulance with him on the way to the hospital.
So it was just like hard throbbing the whole time, the whole ride on the hospital.
How did you get to the hospital?
My dad came. I called my mom. My mom didn't know. She didn't answer. She was at work, and she answered my phone. I told her what happened. She came in right away, and then we drove to the hospital. We're trying to figure everything out.
Yeah.
She didn't answer. She was at work, and then she answered my phone. I told her what happened. She came in right away, and then we drove to the hospital. We're trying to figure everything out.
Yeah, it was hard. That was tough because I beat the ambulance there. I don't even know how that's possible, but I
got an issue with this.
From Grapevine.
I'm sorry. I got an issue with this. I know we grieve differently, right? But this, I have an issue with this. I shouldn't even say it, but I don't see the tears. I'm sorry. I don't see the tears. There's rumors going around that actually Austin was the favor of the two, and that Hunter had an issue with they say both of them was bullied, but out of the two, they said that Austin was the more favored out of the two. Now, you heard how he spoke of Austin regarding his heart and how the community loved him, and he had such a very, compassionate heart. Well, let's just see what the cheerleaders and what the young ladies in the community said regarding Austin or Metcalf. Here we go, y'all. Let's see if what the cheerleaders said or wrote to the coach matches what Hunter just said about his deceased brother, Austin. Let's go.
Here is an email I have obtained. I believe it to be real. Just listen to this. One of the cheerleaders complaining about the twins. Coaches, the other cheerleaders and I have tried to make an effort to stay supportive and spirited throughout the football season. However, the disrespect we feel coming from some of the football players is making it very difficult. Today, after our game against Liberty, some of us cheerleaders in uniform went to Canes. While talking amongst ourselves about the loss, Hunter Metcalf stood up and yelled that my friend and fellow varsity cheerleader is a fat bitch. I don't understand what triggers his rages, but to yell this unprovoked made us all really upset and was incredibly embarrassing for my friend, as everyone is in Canes looked at her and started laughing. We see the Metcalfs act out time and time again, but we trust that there is no repercussions or some sort of consequence, so we stay out of it. But for it now to be directed towards one of the people that shows up to every game to support and cheer them on is astounding to me. After they left Canes, one of the other football players told us that Hunter said his hands were bisexual, implying that he would not only hit guys, but also girls. She is not embarrassed, but genuinely scared, especially after seeing the way he can act on the field. I'm only coming to you because I feel that you should be aware that he is acting like this in public spaces, which is not good for our school's representation and is discouraging us from keeping the cheerleading them on. I'm sorry for even having to come to you about this, but after tonight, it truly feels like it's getting out of hand. I recognize that he may be upset that we lost, but there is no justification for the way he treated my friend tonight. I would also appreciate for my name to stay confidential, as I fear what they would do if they knew. Why did Mike Howard not enter this in Karmelo Anthony's defense? There's so much that has been left of this trial that we will keep it awake, and I will always expose their secrets for the community. Secret Service Sam Out Sampson for president.
Okay, so not only did Austin have issues, aggression issues, Hunter Metcalf had issues, because whoever that cheerleader is, she called him out by name. And the cheerleader, based off, because a lot of people has reported this email that some of the cheerleaders sent to the coach, has said, we are afraid of them if they find out. So I raised the question, why wasn't Hunter, who was there, who was an immediate family member and who was an eyewitness of everything, why wasn't he subpoenaed to come to court and testify for the prosecutor? You mean to tell me that Hunter Metcalf, a brother of Austin, an eyewitness, was on the scene? Even he testified that, even he stated outside of his house that he was there. Why wasn't he testified as a witness for the prosecution? This is why I said this is about to be a federal takeover and intervention. Hold on, I got two more. Hold on. Let's hear what else Metcalf has said. Metcalf, this one. Is this the same one? Let's hear this one.
Them come out, he was on a lot of machines, and it didn't take long for them to come in to say that he had passed. So, not sure, senseless act of a boy that was in the wrong tent, and my son doing the right thing by telling that boy that he needed to be removed from where he was, and just doesn't make any sense. I mean, that's my just because the kid was mad, my son is not here anymore, and I don't understand it.
No. That young boy was jumped in them bleachers. Karmelo Anthony was jumped in those bleachers. He just didn't get mad because he was asked to move In 30 seconds, they jumped him. They jumped him. And if Karmelo Anthony said, I'm not going nowhere, I'm here because I'm invited, just imagine them jumping him because of that. Remember, Hunter just said he has anger issues. I just played that. So if they're twins, if he has anger issues, Austin had anger issues, because remember, the cheerleader said, we are afraid of them. Please keep our names confidential because we are afraid. What would they do if they find out? They said they.
Tell me about Austin. I don't know about your boy.
He was the most amazing kid. So smart. Had football in at him, but he was playing. He just had such ambitions and a drive that it's hard to find in a kid. And he's just such a good spirit, and so many kids loved him. And his brother lost his best friend. I'm so worried about my son, because he's going to have to face this world alone now, because he had a brother that was with him the whole time, and now he's going to have to do it alone. And I'm just so worried about him. I really am.
Hunter with Austin.
He was. They made him go away when they were doing CPR on him, but he was there when he was stabbed, and he was holding, I guess, the wound to keep it from. He was trying to save his brother. But I think he said he saw when he took his last breath.
A 2-inch wound, y'all. A 2-inch wound. A 2-inch wound. What was it, the hole?
Before the CPR came back in. So, for what I heard, he was unresponsive. They were able to revive him a little, but I think I think now he's going to have to do it alone, and I'm just so worried about him. I really am.
Hunter with Austin.
He was. They made him go away when they were doing CPR on him, but he was there when he was stabbed, and he was holding, I guess, the wound to keep it from. He was trying.
So for everybody who is saying that Hunter Metcalf was not there at the day of the event and in the stands, tell Hunter himself that he was not there, and make sure when you're telling Hunter that he's lying, that he was not there at the stadium, you make sure you go to his mother and tell her that, ma'am, you're lying. Your son was not there, when she just said her son was there and he was holding the wound. Get out of here. Get out of here. Get out of here. Let's see. I played that one. That could be it, y'all. That could be it. I played Jasmine, Crockett. I played Sam, Secret Service Sam. I played that one. I showed the pictures. Now, going off to cover her face, but going back, I got this picture off of her channel. Remember I said when they said that it's coming out that now Mike Howard is suspect now, that he could have been doing the dirty work for the prosecutor. That's why he didn't object to anything. That's why he didn't request the statement from witnesses. Remember this? Well, I'm watching her particular video. I'm watching her particular video while she's discussing Mike Howard. And I'm looking, and I said, nah, this can't be. Now, this is just my mind. So this, I may not know what I'm talking about, but based off what I see with the naked eye, well, I'm just going to show you this picture. I see similarities between Mike Howard and Austin Metcalf. Let me show you this picture here. I said, You look resembling. Do you see that they have similarities? To me, I see similar features. Of course, we can't look past the beard. I don't know how his chin is made under the beard, but regarding the nose, of course, you can't see the forehead. But to me, I think they're related. And that's why I think Mike Howard had the family wreck where they wanted him. I think he was the wolf in sheep clothing. The way that they told him, oh, don't talk to this person, don't do this. Oh, you just follow my guidance, do this. I know what I'm talking about. It's even words coming out that he even told them, hey, don't look past that jury. We're still gonna beat that case. Don't question the jury. Don't question the makeup of the jury. I got you. I got you. What if it comes out, because we already heard that one of the jurors was a dentist to one of the boys. We already know that the father and the DA and the judge, they have ties, which is a conflict of interest. But just what if Mike Howard? Where is Mike Howard? What if Mike Howard is kin to the Metcalfs, right? Because, what if? Just, I'm gonna leave it right there. Just what if? We've heard from the judge and what he said. We've heard from the father, right? Why we haven't heard from Karmelo Anthony, defense attorney, say, I did my best in representing the family? Why haven't we heard those words from defense attorney of a case of this magnitude? If you mean to tell me the judge can talk to the public, the father can get an interview, the judge can get an interview, but you, the defendant of Karmelo Anthony, you have nothing to say? Very good catch. Very good catch. Let me go to the comments. Oh, y'all quiet tonight. I like that. Let's see here. The people that seen the video say he was attacked, and you clearly sees that they can't blame it on the rain. Come on with it. They said the video was so clear. 4K, 5K, 6K, 9K, 12K. They said you could see the raindrops. It was just that clear. And I'm not talking about the grainy one that people went to the school and they had on those glasses. Okay. Let's see here. When someone knows they're wrong, the lies begin. More lies are used to hide the first lies. And Lady E, much love and recovery to you. Okay. I just don't want to get switched up regarding the topics. And I saw your other chat in the comments. Okay. But I think that's it, y'all Vestas. I think that's it. Let me see if it's anything that I missed. We went over the Sorsby. We went over the do I want to bring that up? Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Let me go back to this lady here. I got something else for y'all tomorrow night. I got some actually copies of the police records. I don't have time tonight, but I want to show you and tell you exactly what a lawyer said on Stephen A. Smith. Her name is Laura Coates. You know, here, some people can say, oh, Tony talks vested up. You're too emotional. Sometimes, hey, you deliver good information, but sometimes you get wrapped up into this thing because your emotions take over. Well, let's see what a lawyer says. Let me go here. I want to show you who's talking right now. And I'm going to let you go, Vestas. Here she go on Stephen A. Smith. I'm not going to show the videos, but I'm just going to let you hear the audios because I don't know how Stephen A. Smith feel about his material, okay? And I'll definitely want to get a copyright.
Again, my initial reaction to this was, frankly, the word foreseeable. It was foreseeable that a jury would likely convict of some charge, whether it was the murder charge or a manslaughter conviction. It was likely, given the fact that the self-defense that had been argued by the defense team did not seemingly answer the biggest questions for this jury, which goes back to why did he have a particular weapon that day? Why did he feel that he had to use it that day? And was there an alternative way that he could have conducted himself to protect his own safety and otherwise? And the jury composition in this case, I think, is so important because no matter what you think about whether his actions were justified or not, the reason we have a jury system in this country that is premised on one's peers, not, as you said, required to be your same race, required to be your same gender, required to be your same age bracket, required to be parents, nothing like that. But a jury of people who are going to have an open mind towards the facts as they come in, the evidence as presented, and with an insight into the possibility of being able to put oneself in their shoes. That's what we premise our system on. And to have excluded any jurors who were of color based on the reasons that we were given by the prosecution, which was that one did not believe that they could have been objective. Another said that they were an educator and they didn't want to have an educator on the jury because there may have been a kind of biased grace given to high school students. Another, for whatever reason. It gave me pause immediately of whether there was going to be an objectivity in the deliberation process. 35 years in particular, Stephen A., is interesting because normally when we have a sentence in this country, it is based on a kind of imagine a chart that has corresponding years and months to the types of crimes you've been convicted of in the past, the behavior you've done in this particular instance. And we use that to align what might be in line with what's fair generally. Fair not meaning an eye for an eye, but fair in the sense of what have we done before? Is it in line with what we do in a situation like this? Because remember, we're a common law state and we're a common law country, which means we use what we have done in the past as guidance to what we do in the future. Okay. And so this jury was able to actually give their own sentence, which doesn't happen across the country, but in Texas it did. And the reason this is so particular is because there have been other cases that have been similarly situated cases, not precise, where there had been less time given when there had been an instance like this.
Come on with it.
One of the things
And one of those cases was in Belton County with Casey Allenson. Yes. We went over that. And I'll put that up while she's going to continue to talk.
Of the prosecutor's case.
What about the judge choosing not to allow cameras inside the courtroom? You just alluded to that. You just brought that up. I certainly was going to bring that up. This is one of those cases where if there's no cameras in the courtroom, you're at the mercy of the judge, and the lawyer. And their interpretation of what transpired. Exactly trusted. We don't exactly feel like it's ever going to operate in our favor. And then I'm looking at this kid, 3.7 GPA, captain of the football and the track team.
Thank you.
You know, working a part-time, working an after-school job at the Foot Locker, had no criminal record whatsoever. This is his first offense. I can understand the angst and the disgust on the part of supporters of Karmelo Anthony, but then in the same breath, I'm thinking about the father of Mr. Metcalf, whose son was killed. His son ain't never coming back. His son is dead. So it's a hard position to take, and I think cameras in that courtroom would have helped, like you said. It was the judge justified in making that kind of decision, or was it completely at the discretion of the judge, and it's not a damn thing we could do about it?
A damn thing you could do about it. What the judge has discretion. It's not mandated by law to have those cameras in the courtroom. Therefore, it is the discretion. And I think the judge thought, and I'm giving grace here because I don't know the mindset of the judge, but many judges I speak to, when they're asked about whether to have a camera in their courtroom or not, and they have the discretion, they will say they try to avoid what they believe would be a spectacle of people being in the courtroom or trying to have the court of public opinion infiltrate the justice system, and they're trying to prevent a circus. Now, what happens though, when You've got a very, very passionate court of public opinion who wants desperately to understand what happened. The absence of transparency and daylight into that, it only creates further mistrust. And the pacing of the trial, because we're very used to in our criminal justice system hearing about somebody committing a crime in 2022, being charged a year later, having a trial after that, not within the last year, it all coming to fruition and being done.
And not only that, Laura, excuse me for interjecting, not only that, Laura, how about the verdict coming down, the guilty verdict, and then within hours he gets sentenced to 35 years. They didn't even wait a day before sentencing to 35 years.
It makes you think of that phrase, judge, jury, and executioner. Although, obviously, he is not eligible for the death penalty. He was 17 at the time, but did not receive capital punishment in this case. But this all fuels that mistrust that is already very much there. Now, in the courtroom, they did not try to address the racial issues, but it was the quintessential element in the room. We know that in history in America, one of the reasons you have what's called the Batson case, which is a Supreme Court case, essentially says you cannot use race as a reason to strike a juror, is because there had been historical research and evidence presented to the Supreme Court and others to suggest that there was a higher likelihood of either conviction or harsher sentences depending upon the race of the victim compared to the race of the particular defendant. And that was calculated into how they looked at the need to have diverse, at least not having diversity or racial diversity or race-based or gender or religion otherwise be a reason to strike somebody. And so I think a camera in the courtroom, you wouldn't have looked at the jury, you wouldn't have seen who they were. It likely would not have changed the outcome of this case. But what it would have done is it would have allowed people to understand fully what was happening inside of that courtroom, to be able to fully understand for themselves what the basis for appeal should have been and the decision-making process of a jury in having that sentence. I, for one, want more cameras in the courtroom. I've been a prosecutor. I have had to see the underbelly of our justice system. And one of the things, as you mentioned, his background, his schooling, his job, all the things, to me, I can count on one hand on all the cases I've prosecuted, even seen a monster. These aren't monsters you're talking about.
Right.
You're talking about people who make a choice in a moment that they desperately wish they could get back. And because we know that people, oftentimes, the entire prison systems, you've got some monsters in them. You've got the Hannibal Lecters, so to speak. But overwhelmingly, you have people who took and chose a course of action that resulted in a consequence they did not foresee and have to be punished and held to account for it. And that's why we've got all these factors that are considered by a judge or a jury of whether to sentence them by throwing the book at them or otherwise.
Laura, what do we say? Just a couple of questions, a few more questions before I let you.
Okay, did y'all hear she said they're not monsters? We're not talking about monsters here. They gave Karmelo Anthony that sentence like he was a monster. So what? So what did the Supreme Court say about young people? Let me go ahead and pull this up here, y'all. Let me go ahead and pull this up here. Hold one, and I'm gonna let you go. What did the Supreme Court say about young people and the prefrontal lobe of the brain? Prefrontal cortex. The United States Supreme Court has repeatedly recognized that teenagers' brains are still developing. So when I said earlier and throughout this video that Mike Howard easily could have used this in defense of Karmelo Anthony, even if he feels like he couldn't get the case thrown out of court, he at least could have argued for a lower charge. Once again, it says the Supreme Court has repeatedly recognized that teenagers' brains are still developing, particularly areas involving judgment, impulse, control, and assessing consequences. Functions associated with prefrontal cortex. Yes, So for everybody that may come across this video and get this far, you can say that even the Metcalf brothers fell into this particular category. And I would agree with you. I agree with you, but they also had some anger issues and bullying issues, right? So three main Supreme Court cases are especially important. Roper versus Simmons in 2005. The court ruled that the death penalty, they was going to give him death penalty, cannot be imposed for crimes committed by individuals under 18. So in Texas, now, Karmelo Anthony was 17 exactly when this happened. Me and another investor looked up his birthday. He missed his birthday by 45 days. So if he was 18 at the time when this happened in the stands, they could have requested capital, you know what I mean, for Karmelo Anthony, because look how far they took it. I think they got mad because they couldn't take it that far. So I think that's why they gave him this harsh penalty, conviction, sentence, and transport within 24 hours, right? So the court cited scientific research showing that juveniles have less mature judgment, are more susceptible to peer pressure, and have personalities that are still developing. So that is the first case, Roper versus Simmons in 2025. Then number 2, Graham versus Florida that was 2025. This is 2010. Graham versus Florida. The court held that juveniles convicted for non-homicidal offenses cannot receive life without parole. In this case, this doesn't apply. But I only got one more bullet to read. The decision emphasizes that young people have a greater capacity for change and rehabilitation. Right now, let's see what the third case says. Miller versus Alabama, 2012. The court rules that mandatory life without parole sentences for juveniles are unconstitutional. This is why they probably couldn't give him anything over 35, because I'm pretty sure that would probably be life without parole. I've never been to court, but I'm just assuming, right? And then it says the court again relied on research about adolescents, brain development, immaturity, impulsiveness, and reduced ability to appreciate risk and consequences. So that was Miller versus Alabama. Now, this is what the court also says. The court has not said that teenagers cannot be held responsible for crimes. In this case right here, I'm going to stand with it until the very last day. This was not a crime. This was self-defense. Once the video comes out, it's going to show that this was self-defense. Rather, it has recognized that adolescents generally has diminished culpability compared to adults. Their decision-making abilities are not fully matured, and they are more likely to act impulsively and under social pressures, right? This is why I think all of those other witnesses and other bullies are being protected, because they're saying, oh, he's such a young man. Oh, you can't destroy these kids. What about their scholarships? What about their lives? What about this? They wasn't involved. Oh, no. In Texas, let's go back to it. It's called commission of a felony. If you commit a crime, where did that video is going to show that they jumped on Karmelo Anthony, where somebody's life was taken? That's commission to a felony. Zero tolerance for bullying in life. It says neuroscientists often note that the prefrontal cortex continues developing into the early to mid 20s, and that the Supreme Court has cited this body of research when considering how the law should treat juvenile offenders. Karmelo Anthony was a juvenile I'm going to say defendant, not an offender. He was a defendant because he was defending himself from bullying. For criminal cases involving a 17-year-old defendant, these Supreme Court's decisions are frequently referenced by defense attorneys during sentencing to argue that youth and brain development should be considered as a mitigating factor. So lastly, Mike Howard, if the Supreme Court has threw you a nugget to use, why didn't Mike Howard use such cases in Karmelo Anthony defense case? And you were hired, sir. You were not court appointed. You were hired. You got funds. You got thousands of dollars, and you didn't even give this young man a fighting chance in court. Not even with the U.S. Supreme Court. You didn't even try, Mike Howard. You didn't even try. You didn't even try to defend this young man. Sylvester's, until next time, make sure you're going to get your notes, your drink, and your vest, because we say vested up over here 365 degrees. And I'll see you tomorrow night, okay, Vestas? Tomorrow night, I'll be back at 6:45. That's good. Good night, everyone. Good night. I beat that 10 o'clock p.m. But I'll be back tomorrow night at 6:45 because I got some more information for you. We're going to go over the actual police records. Police records. I need to blow them up to a certain point where you can actually read them. We're going to move forward, y'all, with this right here, okay? Vessels, I'll see you next time. And Tony Talks Vested Up Compelling Sports Edge. All right, Vestals. Woo-woo! Thank you, Vestals. Thank you, Lady E. And thank you, Justine. Come on with it. Come on with it. All right, Justin. All right, Mel. All right, 420. All right, Blind Beauty, Big Time, Lady E. Who else? Justine, Mel, Big Time Beauty, Slim 081. Here we go. Meter Lee. What's up, Meter Lee? Good night. 420, Justin. Blessed and highly favored. 420, Al Roberts. Terry Jackson, Slim 081, 420. And that is everybody. And along with CJ. Yes, let's go. All right, Vestals.